Enjoy the rest of the show. Tomo, floor is yours.
See, J-Mo, man, it's like my distant brother as well because he already on point with the title. You can do it. Because I was sitting over there, I was like, how can I come up with something that could
Oh.
just be like, man, one of the best teams in men's college basketball, and they went back to back. This is nobody has done this since like the Florida Gators, I think, in
Mm-hmm.
like 06, 07.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Dave, I know you don't want to hear it, but when bro on the doghouse, man, when he on the show, he can be like, man, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing about my team. You can't tell me nothing about basketball because I told y'all from the beginning we was gonna get here and we was gonna win. A lot of people was in the chat talking about the smoke cometh with Edie. The smoke
And the
cometh.
smokers came.
There we go. And just like hookah, Edie evaporated. You gotta start some new codes or something, man, because it's over for him. He's going to the NBA now. UConn claimed their second consecutive title on Monday after beating Purdue 75-60. Through an impressive display from their backcourt, despite the big man battle between Edie and Donovan, the Huskies guard, man, played a role in securing that victory. So we just got to react to it or do a recap. This up to y'all how you want to do it, because I know CTC gonna have a lot to say about this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ladies win the night before. Now the men have completed the college season. So Joe, how you feel about this game?
Inevitable. I mean, like, it's kind of like we all knew it was going to happen. I had to, back AJ in the chat just for the fun of it. I had to do it, and then I came back to the chat, and it was over after that. All right, so
Mhm.
AJ, man, hope you slept, had a good night's sleep, man. But yeah, UConn. This was a historic team. They asked Ray Allen after the game, "This is the best team you ever seen in UConn history." He said, "Yeah, it's the best team." We all know, he's a UConn legend himself. But I just want to go over some historic stuff, right? So UConn, it's crazy. Before 1999, y'all, UConn had zero championships, zero Final Four championships. Since 1999, they got seven. Seven Final Four, sorry, and six national championships titles,
Mhm.
which is crazy, right? Seven Final Four appearances, and out of seven, you win six. That's wild, right? So like they almost a lock to win when they get to the Final Four. All right. 2020, they probably know about this. Dan Hurley, right? 2020 when he lost to Villanova.
Mhm.
He said, you better get us now because it's coming. Since then, right? UConn's went 115-34, a record of 12-2 in the Natty tournament, right? And won two national championships, which is crazy. By the way, I like Dan. I like him too. The quickest to win titles with the school, right? Ed Tucker, he did it. The quickest to win two titles. Ed Tucker went to Cincinnati in 1961 and won back to back, right? But Dan Early, right? He's tied with Roy Williams and Phil Woolpert with six national championships. Or sorry, two national championships in 6 seasons. That's the quickest. That's the second quickest in NCAA history.
Mhm.
UConn margin of victory was 21 and a half in the last two seasons. That's crazy in the tournament. And your boy, I want to say two things, right? They don't like the last thing I say, all right? Here we go. Most NCAA tournament game wins in the past two seasons. UConn, 12-0. San Diego State, 7 with two losses. Guess what two losses to?
UConn.
Okay. Alabama, right? 6 wins and two losses, right? Two losses to UConn, San Diego. So it's like you got to go through UConn, all right? So, and then last thing I'm gonna say, right? UConn. This is funny. Past four national championships: 2011, 2014, 2023, and now 2024. Guess what else happened in those exact years?
Speak on it.
Miami Heat went to the NBA Finals. But I got bad news for you, Dave. You lost all of them. But you went to the finals, though. So is Miami Heat going to get to the finals this year? I don't know. I'm just saying. History repeats itself.
We'll
But go
see.
ahead.
We'll see. We'll see. For me, man, shout out to UConn and Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley, like they said, is the first to win back-to-back championships, as Billy Donovan did with Florida. But there are only four coaches to have won it back to back since 1965, and that's John Wooden, Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, Billy Donovan, and now Dan Hurley. So he joins a crew that's very well that's short listed. So that's something that's been done. And like Joe said, UConn is 6-0 in the national championship game. So when they get there, it's a guaranteed win, just about 6-0 in the championship game. And the last time they lost in the Final Four was in 2009 against Michigan State. So,
why you had to say that on air?
just saying. As long as they don't have to deal with Michigan State, I think they should be fine.
They'll be all right.
I think so too. But man, UConn is. I said this last year, and I'm going to say this again. Can we now consider UConn a blue blood? Because the blue bloods you hear are Kentucky, UNC, Duke, UCLA. Who has more titles in the last 25 years?
Dave, since Michael Jordan left, they got 6. Duke and UNC got 5 apiece.
This is within the last 25 years. They got 6. No one has more than 2. So they need to be considered a blue blood. They've been doing everything they needed to do. They played great defense in the second half last night. They made Edey have to work for all his buckets just about.
Yeah.
And no one else stepped up in that game. So, I mean, it was like a foregone conclusion. My brother said it last night. He said, look, if we're up at halftime, it's over. And they were up 6 points at halftime. I said, well, they kept it close. He was like, well, so did the last team. And what happened to them? I was like, okay. So, look, UConn is dominant. They've won double-digit games in the last 12 times they've been in the tournament. So, they've been dominant. Yeah. They haven't just been winning. They've been dominant in those wins. And I believe at halftime last year in the national championship, they were up by like 15 to 17 points last year in the first half. So UConn they're the best team in college basketball. They proved it last year, and they proved it again this year. And this is with some of their best players that won the championship last year gone. They're in the NBA. And they came back this year and won it again with Tristan Newton and Castle and Klingon. They did everything they needed to do to win this game, and they dominated. From they only trailed once in this entire game. So they dominated. They dominated this game, and like I said, congrats to UConn. Congrats to Dan Hurley and those guys. This was an amazing tournament, by the way. This was a great tournament in both men's and women. So shout out to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, shout out to Carl too for tracking this whole thing.
Facts. Shout out to CTC. He opened up a bracket, and we had two newbies basically in the final. So
shout out to Kevo with the victory.
Y'all already know what happened. I'll be back.
All right. I do want to say this too. Zach Edey dominated, man. I'm gonna give him his props. He only sat for 30 seconds of the whole game, and you know he finished with 37 points. Let me put it up. 37, 10 rebounds. I think he was the only person that had this stat line in national title championship game history. 37 points, 15 for 25 from the field, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. All right, which he did his job. I feel like, and he had a great season. You know, Zach Edey. It says Zach Edey ends his Purdue career as the first player to win back-to-back National Players of the Year since 1983, with 950-plus points, 450-plus rebounds in the year since 1979, right? With 2,500 points and 1,300 rebounds in the career since 1990, with 140 points and 70 rebounds in a single national NCAA tournament since 1968, with 40 point 15 rebound in the Elite 8 ever. First 40 point 15 rebound in the Elite ever, right? And to lead college basketball in points and recent Final Four since 1960. So he had a great season. It's funny, I saw a post on X. It had a dude sweating real bad, like nervously. And it said, Zach Edey, when he gets to the NBA and he has to guard, and he's getting guarded by Bam Adebayo instead of psychology majors.
That's crazy.
I know it was funny. So I would love to see how you're going to transition to the NFL, to the NBA though, because his type of gameplay, you don't see that in the NBA no more with the small ball. You already see bigs like him in the NBA. So
I think that also depends on where he goes, where he gets drafted. Because most people are projecting that he's not going to be a top lottery pick.
I was about to ask that.
I think it depends on where he goes, and it depends on who his coach is as well.
We'll take him.
So I'm sure we'll take him.
That's the center you've been waiting for, Andre.
We'll take him. We'll take him. Shoot, that'll leave Bam to spread out some more. So that's cool with me.
And that'll save him from that tweet.
Right.
But just a quick my quick recap on the game is, I mean, we talked about the UConn ladies when we was talking about the ladies championship. I mean the bracket, and how UConn was known for just owning the women's bracket. It seemed like some of that energy has shifted back over to the men just a little bit to say, all right, I mean, y'all had a moment, but I mean, y'all had a moment, but this is our time too. So now SC is over there holding things down, and it's like, y'all gotta step y'all game up just a little bit, because right now we running things over here. And shout out to what's the coach name again?
Dan Hurley.
This is the same coach that we was talking about. We got a segment or some topic coming up to talk about him, because we want to say if he's one of the greatest coaches in basketball, right? Was it Dan, or was it it was somebody else from UConn? Oh no, we was talking about UConn and their run, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna talk.
Oh yeah. We put that in the
So I had to bring y'all back just a little bit. I was like, "What you talking about?" I was like, "I remember we were supposed to talk about that at some point, but they won, so now it's really got to be a conversation."
Yeah,
and we want Carl on here for that. So Carl, if you're listening, we want you on here for that conversation. And if Tony could show up, that'd be even better.
That's what we should have had today.
I mean,
he at work, so
look, Dave, like, you got too much dip on your chip, Joe.
Too much dip on your chip.
He's like, I gotta hear from off air. I don't want to hear from him right now. A few moments. But Edey, I was also going to talk about Edey once he got to the NBA before my screen froze, and just to see how his game would transition. Because yes, he put up 37 and 10, and he was looking like a man amongst boys out there for a minute. But again, this goes back to what happened with the ladies again. You have the better team going up against the better player. But when the team shows up, this is what's going to happen. Because it looked like a game, like in the first 15 minutes, and then after that, UConn like settled in, and then they just took off. And I agree with Tony's statement, because even though it was 6 points, that's enough for the gap to see to be like, all right, we can run it up on these boys. And that's what happened. So,
and lastly, Dan Hurley, this is what he said, right? We like, best player against best team, right? He said, we didn't care if Zach Edey took 25, 28 shots to get 30 or 35 points. We didn't care. This whole game plan was no Smith, no Lawyer, no Gillis, no Jones. Keep that collective group under 18 to 20 points as a group. They had no chance to win no matter how well Zach played.
And that's exactly what happened, too.
That's exactly what happened.
Exactly what happened.
One of them went like 4 for 12, other one went 0 for 5, one went like 2 for 4. Like,
hey, you too much dip on your chip. The doghouse still has to be talked about. So hold up, relax a little bit.
You gonna throw out there that their bench played like almost 30 minutes and scored no points?
Come on, man.
That was crazy. But again, shout out to UConn though, man. Shout out to UConn.
Yeah, you hilarious, man.
Hey, I had to. Like,
wait.
Too much about points right now.
What Kev say, man? I never seen a Husky lose to a Boilermaker.
I know, right?
Shout out to Kev.
Joke, but
hey, shout out to AJ too. AJ is the only one that had Purdue in the championship game.
Yeah.
So shout out to AJ as well.
That is
true. He was. So give him props for that. After talking all his trash, they got there. It's
he asked for the smoke. He asked for the smoke, and he got it.
He should have just picked UConn to win. He would have won the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's
But
funny.
UConn
Yeah.
different, man.
Before we talk about the shows, that's funny. We had 2 Eagles. One of them won a championship. One of them didn't. So one is Hurts and one is Nick Foles.
Ah!
That's all I'm gonna say.
So Kevin Nick Foles.
Yep. Yes.
The backup quarterback.
You know AJ is Hurts all day.
Okay.
And
You just started something, Tomo.
I try to. Let's
All
talk
right,
about
let's
these
get to
shows right quick.
Yeah, let's get to these shows, man. So Refuse to Lose is not just a I don't know if y'all know this, man. Refuse to Lose is not just a show. It's not a podcast. It's a network. I don't know if y'all know this yet. All right, we got a start of the day plethora of shows. All right. So the first show I want to bring up is BWT. Baseball with Teddy. All your baseball content goes through BWT. All these channels